gallery. There we go. Hello, good people.
Hello, good Shabbos.
Hello, good friend.
And Claude, thank you for the thank you.
Thank you.
You'll hear some of the themes from the Shabbat greeting coming your way here tonight as well.
Enjoying some Shabbat Shalom helper.
I love it.
There we go, Fran.
Lots of l'chaims, and that's good. One of you has to not drink all of it yet, so you can help make kiddush, because I'm in my basement where I forgot to pour a kos kiddush. So, and actually, kiddush over martini, it's got potential.
I've been trying it out for many years.
We also have the tried and true.
Yeah, but really, why?
Because it's tried and true and sweet and lovely.
I think, though, that the bracha would have to be different. If you made it with gin, it's the fruit of the tree. If you made it with vodka, it's the fruit of the earth.
Very nice, Yashika. It's true.
Tree guy all the way.
The fun thing is, I believe brandy and cognac both work right because they're great. So yeah. So all right. So Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Good to have you all with. And we take a moment, we let go of whatever there is to let go of. And in a way, our weekly half hour together is to do exactly that. It's to separate. For the last 6 days, what do we want to hold on to? What would we rather let go? And begin to do so. Page 7. Most, but perhaps not all of us have the Kol HaNeshama Sidur at home. And if possibly Amy or Shelley or someone has the link, it's always nice to be able to provide. Any Sidur of any denomination will have most of these in the Friday night section, including Yedid Nefesh. Yedid Nefesh Avarachaman Mishoch Avdecha El Retzonecha Yarutz Avdecha Kemo Haya Ishtachaveh El mul hadarecha teravlo yedidutecha mino fetzuv vechotam adur naeziv haolam Nafshi cholat avatecha Ana elna refanala Beharotna noam zivecha Az titchazek vetitrapeh V'ha'ita la Simchat olam, yadadai dai dai dai, yadadai dai dai dai, yadadai dai 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 dai, yadadai dai dai, yadadai dai dai dai, yadadai dai dai dai, yadadai dai dai, yadadai dai 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 dai, yadadai dai dai dai, yadadai dai dai dai. Yada da 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 yada da 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 yada da 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 yada da 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 Page 23. Actually, page 21, because the first of the Psalms, as we revisit the week that was, we're going to focus more on the final parts, but the call is appropriate too, kind of like Baruch Hu in a traditional service. If we were doing the full, what we call matbea tefillah, the structure of prayer, Baruch Hu would be that point of it's a minyan. We are now calling each other to prayer, and it is in the plural imperative. Y'all bless now is what really Baruch Hu translates as. And it's the same grammatical as lechu, come y'all, like we are in this together, and let us go and sing out to the one. Lechu neranena L'Adonai, Nariya Letzur Yishenu, Nekadma Fanav Betoda, Bizmirot Nariya Lo. Lots of good stuff in the middle, but on page 23 at the asterisk, the traditional come together point, and it's always been interesting why we pull this out. We'll discuss in a moment. Arba'im Shana, for 40 years, Akut Bedor. I argued with that generation. And I said they are a people To'e levavhem, whose heart just can't stay in one place. Vehem lo yadu drachai, and they didn't get my ways. Asher nishbati ve'api, so that I swore in my anger. Im yavo'un el menuchati, they'd better not come into my place of rest. Good Shabbos. Our ancestors didn't get it, and neither do we. Are we to be in exile eternally? Why these words? I don't really have an answer, but they remind us of the long arc of history. So those 40 years, Arba'im Shana, of course, started at Exodus and at Sinai. And we don't even know where to date things, because according to the mythic story, the Red Sea was the 7th day of Pesach, and only 43 days later was Shavuot, we stood at Sinai. And when we stood at Sinai, what did we get? Well, there's a debate about exactly what we got, and last week was famously the Big Ten, the Aseret HaDibrot, the 10 utterances, Parshat Yitro. But we're still standing at the mountain as soon as that ends. This week, Parshat Mishpatim is really the turning point, because next week with Truma, we start to go into the details of the 40 years. The outfitting of the tabernacle, the haberdashing of the priests, architecture, fashion design, details. We're still in the clouds here. literally in the clouds. If you read the Shabbat greeting, Moses goes up into the thick cloud. But right before he does that, after 3 chapters, Exodus 21, 22, 23, with some of the oldest laws and the most clarion ethical statements that our people has, we stand at Sinai, and it's almost like the story ends when Moses took, and I'm putting this in the chat for y'all so we can have a really small text study. Moses took the record of the covenant, Vayikach Sefer Habrit, literally the book of the covenant, Vayikra be'oznei ha'am, and he called it out aloud into the ears of the people. Vayomru, and they said, plural, Kol asher diber, all that God has spoken, na'aseh v'nishma. Na'aseh, we will oseh, we will do, we will make, we will deliver. V'nishma, and we will shema, we will hear, we will understand, we will obey. What's funny about that sentence? Feel free to unmute. We're a small crew. Call it out.
The order.
The order. Say more.
Well, a 7 Ishma, you would think that we would hear, we would try and understand before we would take action. We did, but instead we have so much faith in what's being said that we will do it and we will learn over time what it really means.
So the rabbis love to imagine that our interlocutors, like the Roman emperors, are actually Torah scholars who just fell off the path, right? And so they love to engage the sages. And so there's one of these where the Roman, if not emperor, the satrap, the local governor, right, is in a discussion with one of the rabbis and says, "You impetuous people, I know I can't trust you. You know why? Because you act before you think. And you know why I know that? Because when you stood at Sinai and finished hearing all these great laws, you said, Na'aseh, we will do. V'nishma, and only then we will listen. How can I trust you?" And it almost becomes a question ringing in the ears of our people over the years. Very few of you were there, but one year back when Adat Shalom did a big retreat every year, I pushed for an entire retreat weekend on one biblical verse, and this was it. We actually unpacked it for an entire weekend because there's so much to do and say about the doing before the hearing. And in its favor, just to give a short nub before we watch a fun music video to bring some Torah to us in a most unusual way, is that this is really experiential education. This is what is called praxis, the idea that you have to do a little to really have something to reflect on. Then you need to do the reflecting so your next round of doing is a little better, etc. Great question, Luther. Faith or urgency? And yes, we're standing at Sinai, we're trembling. So like on the one hand, the Egyptians aren't right behind us anymore. On the other hand, there's all this thunder and lightning from God. And if you've seen Charlton Heston version, it's pretty terrifying. So yes, maybe. Very nice. So Jackie, thank you. Yes, praxis, along with oral tradition, right? The orality of it, very nice. All good and all thoughtful. So na'aseh v'nishma in sort of modern Hebrew, or in yeshivish Hebrew, na'aseh v'nishma, right? And it's just important so that you hear that. and also the word, I think here it is yachad. He's not quoting the pasuk exactly, but this is a little moment of Jewish pluralism, because as I've said before, as long as we are on Zoom, we might as well take advantage of the medium and do the things we can't do so comfortably on the Bima. And so this is an example of the wide world of Orthodox men only music videos. So I put that asterisk out there that I do not endorse the practice, right? Because of course that's rooted in an interpretation of halakha that a man cannot hear a woman's voice singing lest it be enticing, and that we shouldn't even go putting women's faces in the public sphere because, you know, us heterosexual men, and, you know, please don't get in the way of my spirituality. Okay. So needless to say, this is a problem. This is an enormous problem. It doesn't mean that there isn't good art, or cheesy good art, perhaps. And I will let you decide if I can find, oh, right, I have to pull that one back up. Sorry. You'd think I'd be quicker at it by now with all of this opportunity for practice. But here we go. Share sound. Have fun. Naaseh v'nishma. As the teacher walks into the yeshiva and tries to teach the people about Matan Torah, giving of Torah, what actually happened at Sinai, and why we are bound because our ancestors came up with it. Oh, please. So sorry. That was not the idea. It skipped.
Finally over.
There we go. Oh, Naaseh, Naaseh v'nishma, Naaseh v'nishma, Naaseh v'nishma. Oh, Naaseh, Naaseh v'nishma, Naaseh, Naaseh v'nishma, Na'aseh v'nishma. Right. Cheesy and fun. Hope you enjoyed. But I just love the Sinai visuals, right? To Mishpatim, it's very easy to be in the story and it's words on a page and we stay in that sort of intellectual realm, but to have the visuals, the music, even if it's not your artistic style, I put it forward as a hopefully gift. There's more going on. Oh, good. Thank you, Ariel. There's more going on this Shabbat than just Parshat Mishpatim. It is also, as you may have read, Repro Shabbat through the National Council of Jewish Women, and the importance, as is across the board, and I want to stress this, all the way to modern and centrist orthodoxy, as well as the entire organized Jewish community, stands, if you had to choose, like, I hate the language pro-life, we are pro-life, we are also pro-choice. And we can affirm life and affirm choice simultaneously, and that is the principled position emerging really from the text of all but the extreme right wing in our own camp. And I say that because reproductive rights are clearly under attack. I say that because the Supreme Court is on the mind and the possibility of making history in our day. And I say that because the empowerment and equality of all is in many ways an old theme. And so pulling out from the liturgy of Kabbalat Shabbat, if you turn to page 29, this is in the middle of Psalm 97, the psalm for the third day of the week, kind of reenacting Monday night and Tuesday, as it were. No, Tuesday night and Wednesday, sorry. Yeah. And we have this wonderful image of Tagelna benot Yehuda, let the daughters of Judah rejoice. This was before normative tradition said we don't want to see or hear any women dancing and singing because that's going to pose a problem for the men. This is the proof text. Let the daughters of Judah rejoice. Let them rejoice in their ability to chart their own course where bodies and souls are concerned. Shom'a v'tismach Tzion, Shom'a v'tismach Tzion, Shom'a v'tismach Tzion, v'tagelna benot Yehuda, Shom'a v'tismach Tzion, Shom'a v'tismach Tzion, Shom'a v'tismach Tzion, v'tagelna benot Yehuda, rejoicing, rejoicing, and the women they came rejoicing, 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 v'tagelna benot Yehuda, shom'a v'tismach Tzion, shom'a v'tismach Tzion, shom'a v'tismach Tzion, v'tagelna benot Yehuda. Great question. Miriam and the women are clearly associated with both song and dance. As was noted last week, Miriam had the foresight to leave in a hurry. So much of a hurry, they don't even have time to let the bread rise, but she brings a musical instrument, right? And all the women went out after her and they sing and they danced. So yes, that is biblical tradition, and don't let anyone take it away. And, oh, I'm sorry, I had these in the wrong order. Although really all of these Psalms are, have so much about the God of nature, the God who is immanent and transcendent and everywhere. Here we go, page 33. from the psalm for the fourth day. And I'm just doing this one piece before Lecha Dodi and then Kiddush, because of course Mishpatim is the first of the 5 Torah portions that mention the sabbatical year, which we are in now. And it is about justice, and it is about spirituality. It is about the dignity of each person, particularly those who otherwise would be economically or socially oppressed and not be able to enjoy their times of rest. But it is also an Edenic vision of how we live with nature, so that the land itself has agency, the land itself deserves to rest. That is right there in Exodus chapter 23, verse 10, as you will hear Zev Unger, our Bar Mitzvah boy, teaching tomorrow. Hope to see you there. So picking up at Zamru, you'll hear the image of the sea roar and the earth singing out this idea straight from Psalms, straight from Exodus, that the land and nature themselves have agency. Middle of Psalm 98. Sing with me if you know it. Zamru l'Adonai bechinor, bechinor vekol zimra, bechatzotzrot vekol shofar. Hariu lifnei hamelech Adonai, Yiram hayamum lo. Tevel veyoshveva, neharot yimcha uchaf yachad harim yiranenu. Lifnei Adonai kiva, kiva lishpot haaretz, yishpot tevel betzedek. Ve'amim b'meisharim, Yiram hayam umlo, tevel ve'yoshveva, neharot imcha uchaf yachad harim yiranenu. So with a little look back at the week that was through 3 of the Psalms, all of which pick up on themes of this Shabbat that we are now entering, let us enter it together. Page 41, Lecha Dodi. We'll do the sort of abridged version, the top of each page, 41, 43, 47, and then we rise at the bottom of try that again, 41, 43, 45, and then we do the last one in the middle of 47, at which point for the 4th, in our case, and final, we will rise and face the door. Many of you have heard me do this enough that you know it by now. This was a Navajo or Diné Nation melody learned by a domestic volunteer in the 70s before he made Aliyah, established the synagogue Kol HaNeshama in today's snowy Jerusalem. If you saw 8 inches, Gewalt. None in Zichron Yaakov where Rachel is, or maybe conversational, and became one of the founders of Rabbis for Human Rights, the very same group that was attacked by right-wing settlers this past week and their car set ablaze. So Rabbis for Human Rights has been on the mind, and the heroic people like Rabbi Levi Wyman Kelman, who brought this Diné Nation melody into the Jewish world as Lecha Dodi. Yananai, 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 Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad, Ishmianu el hamiuchad, Adonai echad, ushmo echad, l'shem u'tiferet, v'litila, lecha dodi likrat kala, yananai, 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 Pnei Shabbat nekabela, lecha dodi likrat kala, yananai, 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 Pnei Shabbat nekabela. 43. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'nelcha, ki mekor habracha, merosh mikedem nesucha, sof maaseh b'machshava tchila, lecha dodi likrat kala, yananai, 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 Pnei Shabbat nekabela, lecha dodi likrat kala, yananai, 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 Pnei Shabbat nekabela. 45 at the top. Hitoreri, hitoreri, kiva orech kumi ori, uri, uri, shir daberi, kevod Adonai, alayich nigla, lecha dodi likrat kala, yananai, 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 Pnei Shabbat nekabela. 47 next. Yananai, nanai, yananai, nanai, yananai, 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 yananai. Rise and face an entrance. Boi v'shalom ateret ba'ala, gam besimcha uv'tzola, toch emune am segula, boi chala, boi chala, yananai, nanai, yananai, nanai, yananai, 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 nanai, yananai, nanai, yananai, 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 nanai. Good Shabbat. Lots more that we could sing together, but it is already 6:30. So if someone does have a Kos Kiddush and is willing to be spotlit, or for that matter, willing to lead us in Kiddush. We are on page 109 and then 119 as we return to the creation story en route to the Kiddush itself. So thank you. And everyone look at Fran or anyone else who is raising a glass. 109 and 119. Vayi erev vayi boker yom hashishi, vayechulu hashamayim v'haaretz v'chol tzevam, vayichal Elohim bayom hashvi'i melachto asher asa, vayishpot bayom hashvi'i mikol melachto asher asa, vayivarech Elohim et yom hashvi'i, vayikadesh oto, Kivo Shabbat mikol melachto asher bara Elohim la'asot. Savri chaverai.
Mikhaim.
Unmute, come on, let's hear it.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzevanu, v'shabbat kodsho, be'ahava u'v'ratzon hinkilanu, zikaron, l'maaseh v'reshit, Ki hu yom tehila lo mikrae kodesh zeker litziat Mitzrayim ki aleinu vakata veotanu kidashta lavodateka veShabbat kodesh Be'ahava uveratzon hinkautanu Baruch atah Adonai mekodesh HaShabbat.
Amen. Baruch
Amen. And
Borei
that was
Bri-
beautiful,
Yeah.
Luther.
Thank you. I only meant everyone on mute to say L'chaim, but Luther got the deeper memo. And awesome. Thank you. Thank you. So we're going to unspotlight these wonderful folks. And so we can go back to the gallery view and unmute and wish each other a good Shabbos. And we hope to see you tomorrow morning at 9:30 as Zev Unger becomes bar mitzvah and all kinds of beautiful praying and teaching and sharing unfolds. Good Shabbos, everyone.
Good Shabbos, everybody.
Shabbat shalom, everybody.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Good
Thank you,
Shabbos.
Rabbi friend.
Thank you, Rabbi friend.
Shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Shalom.
Lovely. All right. Thank you all. Good to see you. And Amy, thank you. Thank you.
My pleasure.
Yay. Nicely done. All right. Good to see you, David. Briefly. All right. Hey, Dan. Thank you.
Shabbat shalom.
Good Shabbos. All right. Lihitrod, everyone. Shabbat shalom.
I'll end the meeting.
Great.